True love is the answer. Ah, and how fantastic it is that we know the answer is true love, even before we begin. So we can have that confidence. Trey Pan Seed is the source code of what we're building here. And you guys all meditating with us, you're part of it too. And that's going to be important for you a little later on. But let's talk about living on Earth and what it means that we are the generation, we're the ones who are living, we're the ones who are sharing this day. And then even this moment, we are a family. All right. You know, in a system of a down and all this stuff, like there's a responsibility to take certain things more seriously than usual. There, it's like we don't want to be one of those people who are sort of, you know, mediocre during a very huge crisis. Like the universe is like, oh, crisis time. Like it's not normal for the Earth to be taking the type of vocabulary that it's taking with Trey Parker. Okay, because it's very specific. Trey, well, when you guys are the vortex of the super cities, Strawberry City, I'm talking about all this stuff. It's a huge it's like everyone in the world, especially Americans, love Randolph Pan Williams, the Green Wolf. They're very excited about this, and I can feel it in my heart and all this stuff. So anyway, it's not that we need to be like a conspiracy theory and figure out how does this relate to physics or does this relate back to childcare? Of course, these things are all related in a wonderful way. I was just trying to like, if I was saying like, okay, we are a family, and then immediately I sort of felt like what I wanted to talk to you about is like, can you give me a spot of advice? Here's my spot of advice. It's cool to be like a good person, you're getting along and everything, but really the climate right now, this is sort of it's time to be a hero. And it's time to do things where you're like, the reason I did this because it's really important, and it's just like a way of regaining humanity and regaining our sense of light and family here. So what's interesting, it's like how did people would be like, how does these golden statues, how does this operate? It really is this maneuver which transcends. Hmm. Well, what it does is it embraces American culture, and it says, okay, here in America, we'll have like this super resource and this super resource, and then we can afford this stuff, which actually stabilizes our financial relationship with other countries, and that's all in the appropriate nature vein, the appropriate nature vein. Because suddenly we have an America that's actually parenting its citizens, and the citizens are so happy, and they're like, "Oh, that's the chief force that should uh, canoodle with other countries who are like, hey, what is America doing? Da da da," and then they need to like feel it and hear it and be like, "Oh, it's good." Okay, so if you guys aren't, you start listening to me and you start getting irritated or something, you're listening to a different chi voice. What you should listen to is the urgency of this day. This is like a very rare season. I think a million years from now, you're gonna look back at these little snapshots of you and really cringe and be like, "Oh, that's really embarrassing that, God was on her knees going, please, please save my children before war strikes. Please, God, help me. I'll do anything. I'll explain it to you. I'll tell you that the world is alive. I'll show you the lost city of Atlantis if you would just, please, please save my child." And you guys are like, "Hey, this guy's going after Trey. You guys watch out. We better, move a little bit slower and not support Trey Parker's ascension as he's a double wizard found salvation of California and the word of your father, Robin Williams, Tilt. He's already explained to me where you guys are at." And so you're sitting up there on your with your lawyers, resting your loyals, kicking up your heels, and you're here to see a show. And Trey is hoping that I can perform in a way that people can sort of understand, oh, that sort of sounds presidential. While Trey, I'm looking at you and I'm like, dude, like what I'm sensing is like they just want to see a show. They're not interested in themselves causing a good lift. Okay, so the permafrost style super civilizations, super cities, buddy. So you're not listening, you're twisting my tongue and you're asking me to shut up and go away. There's a bad chi interface here. I can feel the abuse. Okay? And it's just a simple misplacement and a confusion. The correct alignment is to say, oh, Trey is the chosen wizard man. You guys don't get it? You don't know, Trey? Now, Brent is almost lost to the wind. A great hero with a sword of light. And you guys, you want him to start adopting children that have the disability. And you think that's the way it should be. Well, I disagree. And you're going to listen to me because I'm the one speaking here. Do you understand? The super cities in the center of America exist in the image of birth control. And so each of these units has its own identity, its own prerogative. And I can perform after the golden statues, connecting at long last. Culture, the identity of America to finances is what we're actually exchanging as a social agreement. The Simpsons, family values, Batman, be a hero, South Park, common sense. I can build a super city, which is the perfect orphanage. An orphanage to defeat all orphanages. And we're even going to transform America to be inviting immigration again because of our strength. We have strength in materials, in working class, in technology. We know how to build this stuff. We're just not able to afford it. Therefore, we overhaul the money system and suddenly we regain our balance. So if you produce Brent and Pan of the Wild, you will be adopting all of the children and making it a safe place again. So I hope you feel that you haven't wasted your time with me because these candidates are talking about gun control and drugs and stuff, which is all the sniffle of a larger prevailing problem, which the White House is not aware of and not able to defeat. They need an actual leader, a charismatic character, the Green Wolf, to bring this thing, okay? What can a man do? And in his lifetime, the limitations of sight and always being in your body and behind your eyes. We need to refocus so that we're not talking about crowd control as if that's the way that people think about government and money and stuff. And reconfiguring it for the first time ever to prioritizing the identity that is developing here. And so the identity is conflicted. And so a lot of people's profession is to describe the conflict, but that's not good enough. Okay, it's not good enough to just we're just going to go on vacation because we've got a lot of jokers in the house, performing a bunch of mark law or mockery of the elder Clef. This possession of these people who live by the false moral institution which appears to uphold them, but actually liquidates the authenticity and not the potency, but the actual ability of the kings of the garden. And so we've got Rotten Flesh Man versus the stallion, Randolph Pan Williams. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm here to defeat all of this stuff. I'm also going to defeat homelessness. In our generation, my second year of being in the office, I'm going to open up the resource and make all these homeless people constructive in a family. I know that's laughable for you guys because you don't understand their urgency, that their hunger and their pains. And you also, you know, do you want to support that all the children have a home? Or do you want to support that you're not sure if you can make back the money on producing the Green Wolf cartoon? It's your decision to be a hero, and your stamina and your choice now means that in a million years from now, you'll have like a nest egg in heaven where you're like the saint of, so and so or whatever castle of the branch that made this all possible. This is exciting. It's alive. And be like, well, I feel excited and alive, but maybe this is because of confusion. Now you need to use your hands to predict where your nose is going to go and actually perform actions that result in all the children getting adopted. We need to stop wasting food. We need to stop burning oil. These are big chores that no other man is fighting against. I'm the only one doing this. I'm the lone wolf. And I'm here to change the world, and I can do it. And I'm going to make it look easy. And I'm going to involve people in the right way. And we're going to work on the issues and find resolutions. But truly, returning to the gold standard, but also by turning the gold into the idols of our cultural artwork, that taps into the right use of the material of artwork. And that transcends to cause these other pivots where when we break open the dollar, we can get away from bad energy and turn over into good energy. And we can also get all the children safe adopted. And we can also take care of the homeless issues and reduce the pollution, begin converting cars away from burning fossil fuels and towards renewable energies, biodiesel. To me, this is the adult issue. And there are many more adult issues. But it's so stifling, and the anxiety of homelessness and children suffering, chronic abuse, and a chronic misuse of raw materials. It's a sort of blasphemy that is an inappropriate word. But the detection of like a social grid, I've actually not received the types of wings of the mantle that I actually represent, but I'm actually attacked by humanity who they seem to have like a suave and debonair accent. They don't get slanted even though they're criminal in their own world, and they're wealthy and they're padded and they've got their talons in America, but they're not willing to parent the children. And so the sons of South Park suffer needlessly. Because when Sarah Silverman says 39, you comedians need to understand that's your secret language that you are using to get around the Snuffbogen confusion gain system of the down, a societal identity hack where you can't actually feel the real recoil of what people are saying. Actually, Pan of the Wild, the Green Wolf, is popular vote. And all these people are supporting it, but you can't feel it because you're obsessed with the thing that's been feeding you and pleasing you your whole life. It's called a familiar spirit attachment parasite. And it reminds you about, it says, no, I am not the parasite. Remember when we were kids? That's not really useful to me right now. You're obviously not on board with what's going on. I want to try to remember the future, and you keep assaulting me with like as if you know me. One thing, when I'm a very strong person, because I have that mohawk thing, when I'm very strong identity, what I ended up being is like I kept troubleshooting the sorts of schizophrenia that humanity had developed because they were trying to explain a conflict that Jesus Christ was supposed to solve, but he didn't. Okay, so there's this sort of depressing and dullard at the helm. And I'm going to knock him off his feet and take back the reins of America. You guys with me? Fuck yeah. America! Fuck yeah! Coming along to save the motherfucking day now, America! Fuck yeah! Man, that really hits the spot. I want to be this, I have an idea for like sort of like one of these things I want to bring to. I want to bring people to a point where they're going, yeah, 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 yes, boom. You know, it's sort of thing I will be arranging for people, like an award system that's sort of real, where players get like awarded for their appropriate choices. But it's also something that I like to perfect, and also it's my workout regimen. Like when I'm, you know, exercising in the kitchen or whatever, I can feel it, man. Like when I'm, like Bruce Lee would always say, like you want to punch like a little bit beyond your target. Like you're trying to like if this is the face that you're connecting with, you want to be aiming here. So you bam, so that you're it's this thing about and you have to have your whole body behind the punch. So it's like this to this first, but then this to this, and then this to this, and then your hips, and then this to your hips, so that your whole body boom is behind that punch. You understand? And it's almost like it's like lining up something there. Anyway, but I just do it in this triumphant way where I have like a horse stance and I'm just like, boom, yes, yeah, yeah. And I can really feel it, and it's very powerful. So this magic about the having an epiphany and being a physical embodiment of epiphany is also very good magic. Yeah, I ask you guys not to take this issue that I'm presenting to Trey Parker into a place that it is not. I think you will all too often be trying to ascribe the business of a production into a perversity which supports your collusion with the system of the down. And, you know, oh, we can't save America. Come on, you guys. You used to be so cool. Why would you just listen to yourself from when you were cool and youthful and just pretend for a minute that you actually care about this generation? America is on fire. You can see it. There's so much depression. People are speaking in tongues. They need a hero now more than ever. It's about doing what's right, but not in the way that you are familiar with. This isn't about like Batman's thing, like, okay, this is about the golden statues. And when we crack this open, it defeats the speech impediment that we've incurred from burning fossil fuels. Not something your common person is aware of, but they are part of that institution. And as a robot pro, they will have the speech impediment of a husband who's been burning oil in his back pocket for the past conceivable memory. For as long as you remember, you guys are the ones who caused the trash island and allowed it to haunt you and your people on the horizon. I won't allow it. I'm here to fight against it. When you support Randolph Pan Williams and you produce the Green Wolf, you are fighting against those evils and saying no to the trash island and saying no to pollution and saying no to the collapse of society and saying no to war and saying yes to true love as the seed, the cure of all these things. So we pierce the speech impediment, which is, of course, a huge blockade of suave and debonair men who actually are dysfunctional and unable to perform global self-control and mastery of our lifetime is to parent the garden. I can eliminate orphan problems. All children will have a safe and constructive environment. In fact, they will be advanced because they'll be homeschooled and they'll have their own city environment. I can wipe out homelessness and I will defeat the chronic misuse of plastics and food, meat, and etc. I will bring in universal health care. And I'll raise up a conversation when I, on the one hand, legalize marijuana, but on the other hand, monetize it and deeply, you know, put my fangs into it like it's going to be this governmental thing. And they're going to start getting pissed about that. And that's where I'm going to embrace them and I'm going to love them and snuggle with them. Okay. Because they are good little children who deserve to, get angry at the green wolf. Like, that's okay. All right. Like a fantasy. Okay. But the fantasy isn't with you, Trey Parker, where you're like, oh, this is Konke Naishi with me. Return honor to Japan. Liberation of Japan is no laughing matter. It is serious on the spirit of Americans, but this isn't something that the children really understand or can grapple with. There's a generation of children who already recognize themselves as robot trainers, and they are being facilitated with touch pads. But there's a generation above them, like teenagers and these types of 20-year-old people who are using like touchpads like children's app, and they're like, where am I? They are out of place and adjunct. Now, I admit that the attack, the hope of the apocalypse was aimed at a generation familiar to Trey Parker's. So Trey, you have a divot in your head where you're like, dude, I have been fighting against the system of the down. I know this stuff. Okay, but if you could actually okay, so that's what I'm saying. You need to actually physically produce me in order to transcend this thing. And you're in an age bracket where that would actually make sense. The reason why it's hard for people to understand what I'm saying is because there's a huge, huge levitation on me with the transfixed love of all Americans loving and supporting the Green Wolf and being hyped and excited about what's being built by the sons of South Park. And so Trey is receiving the epiphany of the return of his good son. And we're going to raise up that son that is woven into American fabric, and we're going to raise him up with his own set of armor, his own everything. Okay, because that's what I'm good at. I work with Batman and The Simpsons and Walt Disney, and I build like Pro Tools, with them. And then and then I look at Trey Parker, and he's like, and I'm like, boom, and Trey Parker's like, oh, what, what is this? What's going on here? Hey, hey, and then Eric Cartman comes out and takes control. That's what's needed, and that's what the women and the children need is a good husband and a good man, a good king to lead us and do what's right. Trey Parker, I acknowledge you as like essential. The blue wolf to me is like my other half. And so maybe only you can understand what I'm saying. But if you see any like shortcomings in my performance, that's actually your job as the blue wolf is to see that stuff, spot it. And I'm like, I'm like, I'm already here and like, I'm already running for president. Like, I'm like, oh, I can feel it. And it's like, but it's also a dimension where the blue wolf is completing some of my sentences that helps like everything tie together. Because like, yeah, like what I bring is an understanding about the gold statues and about identity and how to cure the identity conflict of America and the world. There's also this very enlightened underpinning of the original function of Earth, which Trey Parker in his own time is slowly beginning to recognize or understand as it does involve his personage. But what would this amass to? See, we're in an system of down like a chew. They've got like head colds and stuff. So like yeah, Trey Parker, if he produces the Green Wolf, he will become having his own chi force. Like it would be like literally the sons of South Park would literally just awaken and start rising up with common sense and the tools and the tricks and trades of Trey Parker. Right, so it'd be like it'd be like a river of, and it'd be a huge heaven where, but it's just that like humanity right now, the people around Trey they're not even oriented in getting themselves to heaven. They're not oriented to stop uh, the harm. But here, because of Trey Pan, now they're emboldened and they want to make this happen. All right. So you guys need to have some hope or some joy and be like the gold statues is about like an idea, but then but the idea is to make like a new malform relationship of money that doesn't pay for food, it doesn't pay for this and that, it only solves a huge problem that we're suffering with. Take your pick. We've got a long list of stuff, but if we're a country and a government, that's sort of the design quandary, is to figure out how to take care of all those uh, foot traffic normal stuff, and that would be self-mastery. We connect that to our arm, we do it with our hands, then we're refocusing the energy and the story of mankind. That's the potential we have here now. And that's also the glory of like an invisible light that you cannot see, but is sensed and targeted by dark light phantoms, which are almost built out of antimatter. You're like, whoa, 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 that's way too much. Well, it's the world we live in. But some people will live their whole life being like, I am this thing, and they'll be like, the dark light is here to get me, make me foolish, so that I can, attack the hope spark and attack the source of a Trey Pan solution for the world. Okay, don't be a tool. Be awesome. You're invited, and I'm not secretly, there's no that I secretly fucking love you guys, and I have so much love for you. And I really I don't feel like I'm like, okay, this is what I'll be doing in the Green Wolf app, and then people are just gonna go crazy for it. No, all right. I'm doing something that's called shooting from my hip or talking to Trey Parker. This is like the original meditation to break like the mind infection where you're like, oh, this would definitely make back our investment. So we produce a cartoon and give a voice to people. I think there's like this there's this there's this huge spike of paranoia. Be like, are we interfering with the election by actually giving a viable voice that will defeat Trump and who is actually aimed at defeating Trump? Okay, but it's masked, and you'll be carrying it, and you'll be like, you'll go to a meeting where you're talking to Trey Parker, but in the back of your belly is like, oh, would this actually make back our investment portfolio? You know for damn sure that this would make back your investment, and this is good for children, this is good for America. So dispel that dark spirit of the naysayer and support your very important friend, Trey Parker. It's all good, but sometimes I have to be the bad guy. And so I'm here to be the bad guy today. And I'm telling you that you guys haven't done enough to adopt. And you're doing the wrong style of adoption. It's the same problem that my dad had. And you guys are not performing the next generation that would be more intelligent than that. I'm, of course, talking about taking care of Brent before we lose that Jewish superhero, because that would be a huge, awesome thing for the Jewish community to have an idol that they could look up to, and it would be totally something I'd want Matt Stone to just take care of and train Brent into his own liking and because that's actually the best way. See, I understand how things work. Okay, so I'm like that would work. That would be magic. And that would cause a global change and really help people. It'd be the best, it'd be a wonderful thing for this generation. But if you guys want to wait longer, we're going to lose that hero and we're going to lose that story and we're going to lose the Sword of Light because you guys aren't enlightened enough to appreciate the impact of what the Sword of Light means. But we need an idol such as Brent to even rouse up the Jedi in humanity. But it's just, but here I am, I'm explaining to you that I can cause total adoption for all orphan issues. So I'm asking you to have a consideration and do the appropriate adoption of the Pan of the Wild and the Brent Clockers, bring us out to California, and do the whole producer thing where you show us the works and put us to work. Is that not how things are done anymore because of Twitter? Things are changed these days, man. People don't listen to celebrities anymore. Haven't you heard about Robin Williams? Oh yeah, no, I'm the guy who wrote the Robin Williams Chief Force uh, dialogue, and you guys are like, "Oh no, you're obviously just sensing the Chief Force flux voxy and spitting it back to us." No, 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 I'm the source. I'm master source. I'm master source. I actually caused those things, but they need to be produced so that people can see it. Hey, we know about giving people stuff that they see. We know about that. You don't tell us about that. Oh, I see. Oh, I don't tell you about that. Actually, I do. Because I'm Pan of the Wild. And the Californian meditation is this close from being gone. Trey Parker could save them. So try not to pass out and try to do the intelligent thing. When you got a rock star, you need to get busy and stop pretending that you're the sensitive one to the situation, as if your behavior is acceptable. I haven't seen acceptable behavior from you yet. Communication land. Epiphany, Marklar. That's what I'm doing. I'm just waterborne spellcasting. The seed is true love. It's epiphany. It's all this good stuff, you guys. And you're just in a supermarket and you're, oh, I've had a dream. I figured something out. But you need to use your hands to get us there. We need to deliver people to a place where they're constructive in their own authority of Earth. And it's a long journey because they need to break out of a lot of things before you can actually understand the enlightened properties of what the suggestion of the Sword of Light pertains to. Specifically, that we are angel incarnate, and our authority is so important right now, and our authority will also change over time. And it's a different time. So to be sensitive to what is 2019 is to be like, holy shit, this is so fucking important. Would you fucking get to work on this? Did you guys do the research yet? All right. I know that you guys have been tuning in, meditating with me, and putting in the work, but the critical thing is to punch the green light and actually perform the commitment. Can we get to that place? Can we find that place? Isn't that for you guys to discover? You'd be like, well, we're waiting for you to, give us the epiphany. Okay. Uh, birth control, super cities, each with their own theme. Unlimited finance resource equals solving all the problems that we have. These are supposed to be things that you guys care about. But when it comes time for you to be a hero, where does your heart go? I'm begging you to invest in the pan Trey seed. I'm begging you to not abandon the voice of 39, a youthful voice that has no money. I have a problem with people who appear to be like me, but they've become very successful with money because they pursued money. I'm not someone who pursued money in my life because I believed I had something more valuable than that. And I worked on myself and I built myself up. I'm like a spiritual weightlifter. And I'd love to have a conversation with you guys, but right now I'm way up here in a critical state, or we could be facing the type of turmoil where the earth cannot speak properly because you guys don't actually parent children. You don't actually do intelligent stuff. So I'm telling you, this is intelligent to do this. Please produce the Green Wolf. Thank you, South Park Studios. I love you guys, and in my heart, I believe that Trey Parker has researched what the Green Party. How does that work? What would this look like? Networking solutions. That's brilliant. Yeah, I've looked into that. How much would this actually cost? But in my heart, I believe that Trey Parker has already done all that stuff, and he's like, dude, I'm like this close to producing you. So in my heart, that's where I believe that we are at. I don't think that you guys haven't done enough. You know what I think? I think you haven't done the critical green light thing and brought me out to California yet. That's what I think. And I'm right about that. And I'm supposed to speak from that epiphany, right? And when I'm in a state of production, Trey has produced me, I'm in a different state of, well, being in California. I want to make a super city that is dedicated to my alicorn son. And there's going to be alicorns running around. Have you seen those people who dress up as unicorns and they walk around? I was just thinking there'd be a whole city with unicorns, and so it's actually completely relevant that Trey Parker and I are studying unicorn magic and unicorn horn stuff because in microwaves or microwaves even, um, that super city of the unicorn meditation will integrate with this research that Trey Parker has done in his own dedication about how would a unicorn's horn work. Because I left that I left that open so that like because we want to know what his style of unicorn magic is like, whilst facilitating basically that the Alicorn Stallion King, my son, would never have a problem with Trey Parker. Basically, is that's the uh, surge protector. We're trying to accentuate unicorn magic, not you know injure it or imitate it, mock it, or anything like that. In fact, it's very real and very next level for the heaven inscription for those who have hooves. So it's important for cows and horses. But it's so there's so much heart value from the animals that even women and children can feel it when they still have their soul. They're like, oh, I can feel the love. It's so sexy. And it's just My Little Pony, and it's fucking awesome because it's like where do we get our spiritual meditations from? And so it's completely unnatural and telltale that My Little Pony is now getting canceled because we're in a down condition where people enjoying and supporting and having fandom isn't enough to afford a continued meditation, so they're just going to shut down that church. Why? Because it was actually reaching the heavens and making good things happen. And so the women and children are being attacked by a system of a down. Okay, it's not just about defeating Trump. It's actually about presenting actual solutions to real problems. It's not that we live in a garden that has problems because that's realistic. It's that I'm realistic because I'm saying that there are cures to all these problems. And that is the green light. That gives you guys the confidence. You understand because you agree. You're like, you're right. Technically, you're right. This would make back our investment. Technically, you're right. You've invited us to perform in your VR thing. And that's fucking awesome. This would be the best advantage, the best opportunity for us. True love is the answer, you guys. Get excited about this. Support Trey Parker. We're raising up a very excited movement and groups and generation that will never forget this event. We're going to perfect it and give them all an experience worth remembering and something that actually helps them to focus their lifetime and what it is that they want to do and where they want to get to in their life. And I'm going to build a garden that is magical and self sustaining, and it runs on clean energy, and it provides food, and it takes care of all the children. That is my promise as the Green Wolf. I believe that you can see it. You can see the system of the down. And I'm just trying to encourage you to go ahead and press that green button and begin the process of producing the Green Wolf. I know that I think, Trey was hoping like, hey man, you're the one, you have an opportunity now because we're all listening to you and I haven't talked to you yet. So it's just whatever you say is a presentation to us about what you represent, right? In my heart, I don't feel like we're there anymore because I've had like the way Trey speaks to me in a different way, albeit it's not a phone call, but like I'm in a place where I'm like, Trey, it's about you and me, you know, it is. And but I can't get a response from him that is the physical production value. I don't want to get too personal. I see some other clues and themes about how you Californians get hacked and irate and how you make decisions because you don't have winter. You're always in summertime. And so it's telltale that, of course, communication industry awakens in Lazy Town. And so from Lazy Town, the whole world is being Californicationed. And I'm the Pan of the Wild from the Massachusetts actual natural function, ancient function of the earth. And I'm not really readily heard by the Californians because you guys have an addiction because you've been groomed by the system of down, which gives you the liquid yum yum for hurting all of Asia. What? No, we don't hurt all of Asia. Oh no, I'm positive that you guys do. Yum yum yum. I'm right. And then Japan says, please give me freedom. And you guys say, Kawinki dink. That's not a correlation. Those things didn't actually happen. Japan didn't ask us to give them freedom. We can't make back our money on producing this cartoon. South Park is in jeopardy by the Sons of South Park. Are you guys really South Parketeers? And you're not rocking your socks? This isn't blasting you off? You should be profounded by this. You're like, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. Matt Parker, Trey Stone, boom, 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 yeah. Trey Parker, Matt Stone, Trey Parker, Matt Stone. South Park forever, yeah, 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 yeah. The where map proves it. The self-fractal style language has convinced, has done it, has performed it. It is there, it exists, it is perfect. Like the achievement of the where map is a communication from heaven. You guys should be bouncing off the walls with excitement, but your literacy is like this and you're concerned about a sort of light. And so the Jews, well, they might be forgotten because they lack the strength of Matt Stone. He's not fighting for the Sons of South Park. And you guys aren't fighting for Trey Parker. Why? Because you don't understand that a man is the solution to the government and to the world. The power of being aware of your seed and doing what I'm talking about. I'm going to step you guys through it, even give you your own swords. Because I'm a swordsmith. And I'm going to lead you through it so that we build up our own armor. Because guess what? When each of us has our own identity based equipment and stuff, that's when we dissolve the problem and transcend. And then the generation of touchpad children have an actual hope for their language as robot trainers or an exciting lifetime. This is our opportunity today. Is for you guys to look in your hearts and say, I want to be a part of the thing that supports Trey Parker and defeats homelessness, defeats child abuse, and defeats pollution, and defeats the financial problems that our country is having. We're better than this, you guys. We're more intelligent than this. It's a communication age. And then on top of that, a technology age. We need to go into that without what is being encroached on us, which is a governmental alien technology. It's also from other countries, and they want to have a war, and we need to put it away along with Trump. We need to stop that bad stuff. You understand? Don't be an example of the problem. Rise above that and be the resilience that defeats the problem. Thank you guys. I really sincerely I love you, and in my heart I believe that Trey has been like, I've been investigating this and I've been working on this, buddy. I'm this close to calling you and bringing you out here. So don't give me lip. Trey, I'm not giving you lip. I'm trying to give you the stamina so that you can fight and care and know that this is about adopting all of those kids. If we do the right thing, it's the appropriate use of materials, so we're defeating the burning of oil by adopting Brent clockers. And producing that is going to be a huge burst that can happen after the gold statues. We need to build up Brent's confidence about his power anyway. And I think that's something that only Matt Stone can do. Because for someone because Brent looks up to Matt, and for Matt to be like, dude, this is really fucking cool. Like, I can see like because Brent is a famous drinker. He'll drink you under the table any day. But like I could just see a time when Matt and him are drinking and they start pulling out their swords of light and talking about it and stuff. I just think that's a beautiful moment. I just want that to happen. I think it's actually going to be really fulfilling for Matt, who has been subsiding with the Jew jokes and stuff, and it'd be a completion for him to be like, oh, we could give like a superhero to the Jewish community, and then Kyle is all of a sudden like a huge angel for all of the Jewish community, and I think that's fucking awesome. I worked in New York City a lot, and there's Hasidic Jews are so freaking cool with their like the curly hair and stuff, and they're like landowners. They have like you always see them like walking around and they're like taking people's rent checks and stuff. These guys are fucking awesome. I'm like driving along in like a traffic jam and I look over and it's just fucking twinkling and bright, like this angelic scene of these Hasidic Jews and their little women and children, and they're just like totally woven into the New York landscape. It's fucking rad. I love people who have dedication, and they're like, and they begin to have similarities because they're talking about a spiritual meditation, like the My Little Pony. But I take it seriously. I take little things seriously, and then and then I find like the elbow, and then I'm like, psh, and then it becomes like a whole world. But that's what you need. You need a bit of caring to transcend the sort of, you know, um, the wrong interpretation of what all this is. So that's actually what it is. It's like the Earth and the universe is having like this identity crisis about what it is. And actually, the cure is good men to fight back and trade pan seed. Like that is the cure. And so we'd be like in this thing being like, why is it that I'm being halted from wanting to do this or like I can't think about this. Whoa. It's like you're actually cutting up against the edge of the thing that was the freaking apocalypse and that hurt the church and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of these gory details about like um never mind. It's just there's a lot of telltale signs, but what we need is to actually do the production and make it happen. Thank you, South Park. I love you guys. Honestly, in my heart, I love you guys, and I believe that Matt and Trey both have been just like we have been paying attention, man. We have been listening. We love your South Park Sons idea. We want this to work. There's a we're thinking about it. Da, da, da. I believe you. I do. I'm just here to kick it and give you a spark. So that we can all kind of come together as a family and be like, okay, all right, let's get to this. Oh, da, 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 because it's really this thing where congratulating the art world is like what I'm saying with My Little Pony. Like My Little Pony actually got murdered from the spotlight because people were having a spiritual uh, event, and that's what that got stifled. And so here is the seed of the Trey Pan. We're trying to be resilient to that. And so you guys producing this and fighting for this is the very strength that the physics and the mirrors and stuff will ascribe that we are empowered. And it looks like like what does it mean? But we need to be the strength going. Oh no, I know what it means. All right, let's get to work. All right, so that is my dedication. I love you guys so much, and I thank you for being strong and be the strength of Trey Parker. Be a strength to our group now, and you'll have more and more opportunities because I'm going to need lots of extras and people who can interact and perform because we're going to do unscripted stuff. And like I said, like the issues, like these people running for president are talking about issues that I'm like, oh my God, like they're not saying anything. And what like Trey and I working and producing the Green Wolf is going to do more than the White House presently is doing. We're going to drive out suicide. We're going to drive out school shootings. We're going to lower the crime rates. All that stuff is really going to happen. And my presentation to you is now perfected. It is complete, and all like no curses, so no ill tides, and all the good blessings that herald from true love. Thank you, South Park Studios. I love you guys. I'm genuinely having an epiphany. I'm genuinely the lone wolf. It's just you and me talking is why I've been able to awaken sort of and I need your help, you guys. Please invest and produce and bring me out to California. Thank you. I love you guys. The answer is true love. It is good.